You're listening to the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Every week we bring somebody else into the studio with us to not only play their music, but to talk about it. And if you'd like to be on this show, all you have to do is go to our website, rock937online.com. We've got all the details there about how you can be a part of the local edition of the 9 o'clock news. I've got in studio with me, short of stable, 4-piece, but today playing the role of a 3-piece, short one member. So going to go around the room and introduce, starting from my left, I have Stephen.
Yes, sir.
You can give me your last name.
Eddington.
Eddington. And you are, of course, from Crossville.
Yes, sir.
As is all of the band that we're going to meet here. In the middle, I've got
Cole Kimmer.
Okay. And then down on the end, on the far right,
Will Flynn.
Will Flynn. All right. And then missing in action, Austin
Brickle
is their drummer. So how did you guys meet?
Well, me and Will here, we met in elementary school, actually. And I began playing guitar around 8th grade. And once we got into high school, I found out that Will had kind of messed around on guitar before. So I took what I knew and kind of helped him further learn his knowledge on the guitar. And we began playing together early on, freshman year up through high school. And we met the other guys, I think, both of them junior year. So that's when we really began playing and writing. And
then, Stephen, you came into the picture later on? Or?
It was about my sophomore year of high school, their junior year.
All right. So as it lines out, then, Cole, you handle vocals and lead guitar? Or?
Yes, I'm the vocalist and just the rhythm guitarist.
Rhythm guitarist. Okay, got to keep that straight. You're the lead guitarist then.
Yeah, it just depends on who writes the song, really. If it's me writing the main riff of the song, I'll usually take the lead, and if he's writing, then he'll take the lead. So there's no distinction, but we just kind of...
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Some bands put that distinction that right. This person's going to handle all this. So you do shared duties, I guess, then would be
Absolutely.
For solos and things. And then, of course, you handle the bass.
Yes, sir.
You guys have been together for how long exactly?
Maybe 5 years for the two of us.
Yeah, around that.
And then 3 or 4 with everyone else.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are really the core of the band, and did you, as you guys were starting to figure out that you could do this and you worked on guitar and stuff, it sounds like it's a cooperative thing. You probably figure out what's going to work best for you and back and forth. So does that, how does that factor into the songwriting for the band?
Me and Will, we always write together, so we just have acoustic guitars, we sit down. Usually he has some lyrics lined up and we'll mess around with them or vice versa, but we always write the songs together and then bring them to the other members, and then that's when we kind of work everything out.
So you put the polish on them.
Exactly. Perfect way to say it.
Is there ever a time whenever maybe the other members come up with parts of the songs too, or is it just one of those things where it's exclusively you guys, or do they bring you songs and say, hey, I've got an idea for this. It's something that I was thinking that we could turn into a tune, or...
It's usually just exclusively us, but I mean, in studio, that's when they'll really come in and they'll include their own ideas and stuff into the music when we're laying everything else out, backing tracks and just certain harmonies, and that's when they really come into play, and they'll add their own twists on the things. And the songs.
So it's kind of an improv thing, then. There's not just
pretty much.
So you
we never said that. Hey, you guys can't write, but it's just kind of turned out.
It kind of works out that way.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I'm just kind of curious to how your dynamic goes towards writing songs. Speaking of, you were going to tell me the story about Back from Freedom, so go ahead.
Back to Freedom?
Back to Freedom.
Back to Freedom, in the title, it's talking about just a person in a struggle with another person and something that really restraining them. And then through the verses, it's telling their story of how one person is mistreating the other or so, and then in the chorus it really gets into the breakdown of their relationship, and one of the individuals is back to freedom, how they were before it started.
How hard was it to write? Did the words just come easy? Was it an anger type thing, or was it just simply, I've got these emotions, I got to get them out and put them on paper?
Yeah, I'm just I don't know. I always have a pen and a pad, and I'm always just writing down just whatever I feel.
So, well, in that case, words come first then, or is it for you, it's just putting the words together? What about you? Is it melodies come first or lyrics come first?
Melodies. I write music first, and then I write the lyrics to fit the music, which is why I don't write a lot of lyrics to our own material. Usually, Will has the lyrics laid out for me, and then I can form the music to kind of what he was wanting it to sound like.
Well, let's give it a listen, shall we? This is Back to Freedom. It's short of stable on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It's the show for local bands about local bands. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. We've got hanging out in the studio with us today, Short of Stable, talking to us about their music. Guys have traveled all the way from Crossville. Appreciate you hanging out with us today and sharing and giving us a chance to learn a little bit more about where it comes from. We've talked about your songwriting and how you craft your songs and how you guys got together. I'm curious. Influences. We'll start over here, and you just kind of tell us, Stephen, what were your influences?
I'd say personally my influences are more like early 2000s rock, but for the band in general, I would say 90s, anywhere to modern rock. And we have a lot of influences in there, and you can definitely see it in our music.
So what's on your personal playlist? If I grabbed your music player and was just queuing it up, what would be the most played song on there?
We'll see. Probably actually a Taylor Swift song.
All right.
No, just kidding. Probably Breaking Benjamin. Probably
Nice.
be my forte.
Nice. And there's nothing wrong with Taylor Swift. She's an okay person, too. She's certainly making more money than any of us are, so it's not all that bad. So, Cole, what about you? Inspirations, influences, song, bands, and things that you're into?
Well, I grew up listening to pretty much all 90s alternative rock. So, I mean, I was always into Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, all of those bands. So that's pretty much why my vocal style still sounds like a 90s alternative band. Even though our music is more of a modern rock, we still have the, I wouldn't say old school vocals, but it's definitely the more of the grunge scene. So,
Absolutely, Alice in Chains is my number one favorite band. And then Chevelle also has a huge influence in Cole and I in our writing. It's a modern band. They still play today, so yeah. Alice in Chains and Chevelle, I think if they had a baby, it would be called Short of Stable.
Well, then, there you go. Now you know who their parents are. So that's, what's the most outlandish thing that you probably listen to that most people would kind of go, really?
I love the Commodores
Nice.
from the 70s, yeah.
That's actually some good groups.
We were talking
What
about
you?
Lionel Richie today.
oh yeah, Lionel Richie's good. Just saw him at Bonnaroo, but definitely Old Crow Medicine Show is one of my favorite bands of all time. I love bluegrass, and their lyrics are just fun, so.
Very cool. Well, I would ask you, but we already know it's Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah, no.
Seriously though? What is the most outlandish thing that you probably
Lately, I've
listen
been
to?
on a really big Elton John kick. I've been
Okay.
loving listening to some Elton John. Piano is probably my favorite instrument.
Now, I bring up the outlandish choices for the simple thing that I think who we are, music really has an impact on that, and a lot of people live through their music. So I'm guessing those choices you were drawn to them. Do they ever waver into your music, or do you keep those types of things and say, okay, as a band, we're only ever going to do this. It's never going to be a departure.
Actually, just the other day we recorded a song that was focused on the piano, and on our CD Winter, we have no piano at all. Mm-hmm. And then we went back just for fun, and we recorded a piano track, and we threw a song down over that. And
Yeah, I mean, we always try to incorporate new things, and one of the coolest things we did with the album is we took time in between the recording sessions. So, I mean, the few months that we would take apart, and that amount of time we would listen to new music and kind of have new styles going around in our heads that we would use in the studio to help get different sounds and everything.
Talking with our guest tonight, I have Short of Stable in studio with me. We'll be back to have more conversation with them on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. This is the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Tonight we are visiting with Short of Stable, but we keep talking about the new album that you've got, but we've not said the name of it. So how about if we give them the name of the album?
Well, the name of the album is Winter, and it's just been out, not very long now, and we've just been trying to promote it ourselves and push it, so we're definitely grateful for this opportunity to help spread the name out there to people.
Now, this is your first actual album, so how long did it take to get your album together?
We went to the studio the first time probably 2 years ago.
2012.
2012.
Yeah, and that's when we did 2 songs at that session. We had never met the guy, been to the studio before, so we went just to do 2 songs to get a feel for it, see how we liked him and working with him, and we loved it. So we went back probably 6 or 7 months after that, did some more songs, and we kept doing that in series until we had the full album done.
Okay, and where did you record it at?
The album is we actually recorded at Blue Tape Studios in Nashville. So the owner of that is Eddie DePool.
You were telling me he's a pretty cool guy.
He is fantastic.
So anybody looking for somebody to use, Eddie DePool is the guy to go talk to.
Blue Tape
Definitely,
Studios
yeah.
in Nashville, Tennessee. Yes, sir.
Now, did he said he was cool to work with, and you said that he gave you some input on one of your songs. Was he one of those that just was disinterested as far as just record your stuff and go? Or was it more,
Absolutely not.
you guys sound awesome, but it might sound a little better if you did this?
Oh yeah, and he would provide some guitar work for us, and he would help record. And yeah, if I did a mess up on the vocals, he wouldn't just push through it and try to auto-tune it. He would make me redo it. He was stern on it, but he wanted us to have the best sounding album we could have, So
That's awesome.
He's
a
great musician in himself too. So he knows the stuff he knows about music, and technology with music is amazing.
Excellent. Okay, well, it took you a good while to get the album together and to get it recorded. You had the songs. You'd been working on those for a while. So just kind of curious, the live performances, as far as getting out there and getting out and playing in front of people, how long have you actually been doing that as a band?
As soon as we started writing, we started playing. Actually, the first time we played live, we had never played with our drummer before. We had a different bassist at the time, and we went to Roan State to a competition. We wrote a song probably a week before, had never played it together as a band, so we set up and we performed it live with an acoustic guitar plugged through a little, I don't even know what kind of amp it was, just a little small solid state amp, and then our drummer had a snare and a hi-hat and I think a kick drum. That was it. Yep. And we performed a song. He had never played drums behind it, never heard the song. And we won the competition, so that's when we decided.
Well, that's a good note.
Yeah, so that's when we decided that we had something together. We had a nice groove that we could take over and actually start beginning to play some shows and everything.
So it sounds like you guys have been a natural fit since then. So, and you say the only change has been bringing Steven in. So I've always been curious. Anytime that you have somebody come in after a band has already started, and there's nothing wrong with not being an original member. I am curious, though, does it feel like there's times that you play catch up because it feels like they were there before, so it's kind of like they've got a little ground and you've got to catch up to it? Or do you feel like it's just a matter of finding your home and sitting in your niche?
This is definitely a very niche pick for me. I love playing with the band. I would not play with anyone else, period. As for like the songs that have been written, they've all been written since I've entered the band. Like all of the songs on the album are all of us. There's no change in the lineup for the album.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Maybe one, I don't know.
Yeah,
show.
We've been writing so long.
Yeah, there was one in the notebook that they didn't tell you about.
Yeah, I think show was just before your time.
Before my time.
I want to talk to you about one of the other songs that you've got on the album. On Winter, they have May We Fall. And so how about if we talk a little bit about that, how that one came together?
Yeah, it's a fun song. Me and Will wrote that actually when we were freshmen in college. We were at ETSU, and we hadn't played any live shows in a while, and we were just spending time writing some music, and Will came up with some lyrics, and I don't remember, I think I wrote the main riff to that one.
Yep.
And we came together, and they were both separate. I had the music, and he had the lyrics, and they just happened to fit together nicely. So we put it together and wrote it, and it's a nice song. I mean, we'll be able to tell you more about the lyric part.
Yeah, I remember at that point in time, our band, we wanted to kind of do a Christian thing. We were trying, because we're all come from a Christian background,
right?
We wanted to, maybe try that. And so those were my first lyrics I ever attempted to do Christian lyrics. None of our lyrics are anything bad, but that was the first time. And so maybe if you hear it, you can kind of pick that out.
Contemporary. We'll go that route.
Yeah, right, okay.
A lot of like, let's say like POD, a lot of their lyrics and stuff, you know where their heart lies.
Right.
But I get what you're saying about that. So how about if we go ahead and play this for them off of their CD, Winter. This is Short of Stable. It's May We Fall on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. We've got Crossville's Short of Stable in studio with us tonight. All right, so we've kind of gone over some of the parts of the album and talked about some of the songs, what it was like writing them, putting them together, and your experience as first-timers out on the stage. I'm sure by now you're like a polished thing, right? You just, everybody laughs.
Absolutely.
Has it gotten to be more comfortable, though, the more you've played together? I'm sure it's probably gotten a little easier.
Definitely. I mean, we fit nicely together, when we're on stage, we don't really have, when we mess up, we don't make a big dramatic scene about it. We just keep playing through, and as long as one of us can stay on, then we can usually all keep together and
Remember that time at the Palace? We all messed up at the same time, and then we all came back. We all corrected ourselves perfectly. It sounded like we did it on
Same
purpose,
time.
but we all messed up for like, I don't know, it was like 2 whole beats. We were just stopped and we all came back. It was kind of weird.
We just,
That is
I mean,
kinda cool.
our performances, we just try to have fun. You know, we're not a perfect band. We're not perfect musicians. I mean, we mess up constantly. Our goal is just to mess up in a way to where we either can just ignore it and like it didn't happen, or make it fun or funny for the crowd at least.
Now, you guys got a series of shows lined up. Are you planning to go out and play around the area, or where can they find all that information? I'm guessing
On
you
our
got Facebook.
We're not going to be playing any live shows until the fall. We have to wait for our drummer to move back home. He's been in Seattle the past few months doing some work up there. So whenever he gets home, that's when we're going to start playing some music again.
I've heard they've got some really good drummers that come from Seattle, so that's kind of fitting. So, all right. Well, they can keep up on Facebook. You guys are also on Reverb Nation. They can hear one of your singles is up there, and find out more information about where they can get the album and things like that. Where can they pick that up?
Any online retailer. I mean, we push iTunes just because it's what we all use, but I mean, you can get it through the Google Market, or
You can get it through the Play Store. You can get it through Amazon MP3. You can get it through just about anything. We even have our own Spotify now.
Nice. So, do you think that's as far as getting out and getting exposure, has that made it easier or harder? Is it just more things that you have to keep up with?
I mean, we use an aggregator, so it all comes together, and we just promote iTunes and hope that people know they can search other retailers, you know.
Makes sense. It's just kind of like people saying Facebook when they mean every other form of social media, because there's so many different ones out there. But you guys, I'm sure, are probably on the other ones too, so they can probably find you on Twitter and other places too. So.
Absolutely.
But again, simplest place to go to find all this information, just go to reverbnation.com. Put in Short of Stable as your local band. Your area, you want to kind of put that in Crossville or the Cookeville area, and you can find all the links and all the information that they've got as far as where you can get their music and everything else. So do that at reverbnation.com. Thank you guys so much. Short of Stable, our guest tonight. Appreciate you guys spending the last hour with us, getting to know your music a little better. Thanks for coming in.